Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Bill. Today's video is a continuation of the 1920s character, or I should say investigator, build for a Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm using the Call of Cthulhu Keeper rulebook for this. So if you were just getting into the game yourself and needed to buy books for it, the only book you need is this book. Now, that said, if you want a lot more options for occupations and stuff and a lot more information as a player, you should invest in the Investigator's Guide, which is built for the players. But the Keeper Rulebook has everything you need to play the game and run the game. And I'm going to stick to that when picking my occupations, my skills, and stuff. So, let me flip over to where I have my character sheet, and let's go over what we did last time. We rolled our stats. We found out what our halves and our 1/5 value were for all our stats. We got our movement rate. I picked the age of my character. We did hit points. We got our sanity starting at in this game, which in this game, it's not going to stay there. Hardly ever. So that's going to be very entertaining to watch that go up and down. Then we've established what our magic points are, which was based off of our power stat, our POW stat. So now, next step is to determine our occupation. And then the step after that, decide what our skills are and how we allocate our points to our skills. So let's go over to step 2, determine occupation. Page after that shows you a breakdown of how to make a character, what else on a character sheet. So once you sample occupations can be found on page 40. So I need to turn to page 40. But a group of skills is associated with all occupations. So let's go to page 40. Here you go. Antiquarian, artist, athlete, author, member of the clergy, criminal, dilettante. Think of dilettante as obscenely rich. And it was before the first big crash of the stock market in the early 1900s. Doctor of medicine, drifter, engineer, entertainer, farmer, hacker, which would not be applicable because we're making a 1920s character, journalist, lawyer, librarian, military officer, missionary, musician, parapsychologist, pilot, police detective, police officer, private investigator, professor, soldier, tribe member, zealot. So the list in the player's version is a lot longer. So let's see. I would assume my character's still in college, being only 20 years old. So we'll go with, let's see, strong. So I could go with athlete. He's also big, so athlete is fun, but his education's also real high, so he's smart. So I'm looking at lawyer, engineer, doctor of medicine. He could be learning to become a doctor. Be an author or an athlete. Or an antiquarian. Antiquarians understand the history of objects and such. We'll say he's going to become an antiquarian, just because I've not created an antiquarian before. When creating characters, it's always good to create something you've never made before, never played before, but it's also good to dive into something you have played before. My favorite, say, in Dungeons & Dragons Pathfinder was I love playing fighters. Fighters I'm very familiar with. Fighters I'm very good with. But I don't always play them. I play spellcasters, I play thieves, such as so on and so forth. So let's do this for this one. We'll be an antiquarian. So he might not be in school, but he is very well educated. So under antiquarian, they list a group of skills. They also say the credit rating needs to be between 30 and 70. So I'll make a note of that on a scratch sheet of paper. Occupational skill points. The occupational skill points is your EDU times 4. My EDU is 70, so I have 280 points. If I did the math correctly. And that's my occupational skill points. You should get other skill points. You get personal interest skills as well, which is calculated by multiplying your intelligence by 2, and they do not have to be in your occupational skills. So intelligence times 2, I would have 90 points for my personal interest skills. And you must allot all your skill points or they are lost. So now let's look at the character sheet and start allotting some points. So let's look at my occupation again. My occupational skills are appraise, art/craft any. So we'll start with appraise. I will underline it because marking the boxes just represents that you succeeded that adventure and we're not succeeding. We are marking what is ours. Art/craft is another one that's ours. starts at 05. That's good. History, library use, other language. History, language other. Library use. One interpersonal skill, so charm, fast talk, intimidate, or persuade. Given the fact that his appearance is 45, probably going to go more on the persuade side. So let's do that. Let's go on the persuade side. Well, persuade starts at 10%. Charm starts at 15%. Should I go with something that's already a little bit higher? See, these are the debates you make when you're used to making optimal characters for Dungeons and Dragons. I think I'll go with charm instead. So although his appearance isn't really great, he's still a sweet talker. Spot hidden is also an antiquarian skill. Just because I'm marking all these doesn't mean I'm dividing points into all these. At least not yet. So, spot hidden. Okay, so my credit rating, which is the first thing I need to do anything with. A credit rating starts at 0. It's the only thing you can't improve besides Cthulhu Mythos in a actual story, just from making a successful check. Now, rewards from a story can improve your credit rating or your Cthulhu Mythos by seeing stuff. So, my credit rating could be anywhere between 30 and 70, and I'd take it out of my occupational skills. That said, 30 is pretty good. I'll go with 35 for credit rating. So we'll be at 35. Here is my main stat. So we'll subtract 35. So there's my credit rating. So that's the first thing I've done. So what do I have left over? I have 245 points left over. So if I want to be moderately successful at most of the stuff that I got, I'm probably only going to pick a handful of abilities or skills and increase them a decent amount. I'm thinking I want them at least 40% to 50%. So if I do 40%, just based on my leftover points, I could get 6 skills at 40, one of which would be at 45, because I have 5 points left over. So 6. So if I put 40 into charm, I'm at 55% in charm. I'll be okay with that. So there's one of my 40. He is an antiquarian, so he needs to be good at history. So he starts at 5% knowledge history. So I'm going to add 40 to that. He's at 45 for history. So there's the second one of my 40s. Library use starts at 20. He went to school for this at some point. Him being 20 years old probably means he didn't finish college unless he went in for a short degree. Could also mean he's now out in the field trying to learn stuff in the field. But as of such, he's been very familiar with a library. So 40 added to the library of 20 gives him a 60 in library use. So there is my third one. My fourth one will go into spot hidden. So that 40 will give me a 65 because spot hidden starts at 25. So I'll have a 65 in spot hidden. So after that, how many more? So there's a language I can take, and there is appraise. Definitely want to take appraise. So I'll throw a 40 in appraise. Appraise starts at 5%, so it's going to be 45 when it's all said and done. So that'll be that one. So now I have a 45 to place, and I'll place it into other language. So I'll be at, other language starts at 1%. So I will be at 46 in that one. Now I just need to pick a language for that. Let's go with Arabic. One of the languages I remember from one of the stories from H.P. Lovecraft. Now he gets personal interest skills, and he has 90 points. So looking at these skills, I will divide the 90 points into 3 skills. So I'll have 30 times 3 to spend. I'll say he grew up in farm country. He learned how to shoot a shotgun and a rifle, so we'll add 30 to that. It starts at 25, so he is now at a 55. He's learned how to drive an automobile because those interested him as they became more prevalent on the market. So we'll put 30 into drive auto, which starts at 20, so he is now at 50. So I have one more 30 to place. And we'll say he might have a small temper, and he's gotten into quite a few fist fights growing up. So we'll say he has a 55 in fighting a brawl. So that'll cover those. All I need to do now, which I will probably do outside of the video, is put in the half values and then the 1/5 values for each of the skills. The only thing out of his class skills he didn't take was his occupation skills he didn't take was in arts and crafts. That said, his lowest skill is credit rating out of the ones that he actually had points in. His next lowest skill is a 45. So rolling that on percentile, I feel I'm more likely to roll that a little bit more often than the credit rating of 35 to make a check. The higher the skill ended up, the more likely I am to succeed. So the harder it is to increase that skill too as the game progresses. So now that we've done that, what was the next step I was going to go into? So occupation and skills. Well, that's all for this video then. And then the next video, we'll finish rounding out this character by buying equipment and finishing up his backstory and stuff like that. So, until we meet again, watch out for all those horrors.